Hey, I'm Francesca Maxime. This is WiseGirl, Friday, November 18th. Good morning. Thanks for watching. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about busyness and what it means to kind of slow down in today's society. There's a lot of talk, of course, that I have no time to meditate. I have no time to sit and be quiet. I'm managing multiple jobs, children, a relationship, various activities that I'm involved in, networking events, things that one needs to do to kind of move forward with life and really sort of perform business and do the things that we need to do to earn a living and to just get by, really, at a certain level. So I just wanted to address that for a moment. I want to just recognize that we're living in a culture that values busyness. We are living in a culture that values not being still. There is a Time magazine cover right now on its special edition that is devoted to mindfulness, and in it are a variety of ways in which you can become more mindful in day-to-day life and feel more grounded, which include things as simple as standing with your bare feet on the grass in a park or yard or field, which I find phenomenal because I know that a lot of folks really just don't have the time or make the time to connect with this kind of natural wonder that surrounds us and that we can even access in cities, even if we don't live in the country or by the ocean or that kind of a thing. It also talks about screen time and how distracted we get by having to respond to everything. And, for example, turning off notifications is one way that we can stay a little bit calmer and, again, plan from our home base as to when to respond, as opposed to always be responding to every little ping that comes by. One of the things that this busyness, though, brings, I think that I would invite you to consider, is this sense of feeling as though it's never good enough, it's never going to be accomplished, there's always something else out there. And yet at the same time that we've seen an increase in busyness, we've also seen there be an increase in a desire to have a slow food movement or this mindfulness movement that's sort of taking hold. Because in fact, our human bodies are not algorithms. We are not a computer. We are a manifestation in physical form of heart and mind and gut and all the things that comprise not only a physical body, but a thinking body, an emotive body, whatever it is that makes us up as us. And I think that we get caught up in thought based on the culture and what we're being given and what we're being told is important. And we sometimes need to take a step back and be a little bit more still. The thing is not everybody else is on board with this, and oftentimes you get a lot of props for how many things you do and being busy. And yet, I would invite you to think about people who've made a real impact on you just by their presence. I think sometimes we know that there are certain people who, when they step into the room, when they step into space, they have a certain space they hold. They bring in to that space with them an aura, if you want to call it, a certain sense of just really groundedness and their ability to kind of not seem too rocked by whatever it is that might be going on and whatever kind of chaos might be going on around you. So one of the things I wanted to mention is try to think about, perhaps, I'm inviting you to think about this, instead of this multitasking that oftentimes has been touted as how we should operate, what if we tried single-tasking? What if we tried focusing on one thing at a time, that which is right in front of us, that which is accomplishable, doable, that which we can see clearly without having to dwell in the past or go into the future and ruminate in thought, and that which we use all of our sensations, meaning our intuition and our gut, our feeling in our heart. Does this feel right? Does this feel, good? And our thinking mind to then be present to that situation that we're single tasking in. And then we can move to whatever the next situation might be. but to try to manage everything simultaneously, which of course we have to do at a certain plane, right? Like I said earlier, if you have kids, if you have a family, if you have a job, if you have all these other things that you're dealing with, but that in the moment we can only be really trying to address the one thing that we're focusing our concentration on. Because in fact, that is kind of what mindfulness is and kind of what meditation is. It's that ability to still ourselves and concentrate enough on one focus of our attention so that we can do it fully and therefore not miss anything, because it's in that kind of missing something and disconnect that we then sort of do other things. For example, if you're driving and you're eating and putting on makeup and worrying about the radio, sometimes you'll miss the person in front of you and you'll bump into them and then you get into a minor fender bender. Not great, right? You don't want to do that. But oftentimes when we're not distracted and we're just enjoying the drive, even if it is bumper to bumper, we allow ourselves to relax into it, breathe a little bit, just say, okay, this is the way it is for now. Single tasking with our driving. It can become a little bit more pleasant, and we don't make the situation worse by trying to cram too much into one container. Now, this is, again, like I said, going against the way our culture is and against what some of the realities of our lives may be in terms of we have a lot to do. I would simply invite you to say, is it worth it to try to make all this extra money if what I'm maybe doing is trying to buy a fancier pocketbook because I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses in my office or the Miss Joneses in my office? Is that really the point of what I'm trying to do with my life? Or is it fine if I have less and I let go of what the ego says about what it means to sort of compete and be seen in a certain way in the eyes of my peers? Can I not hold my own space underneath that as to say, other people's opinions of me doesn't really matter. What matters to me is that if I have maybe a job or a situation that I can create that isn't quite as demanding, where I don't need quite as much money to just sustain this lifestyle that is really, when I look at it, more based on perhaps trying to fit into other people's expectations, then maybe that opens up more space for me to be able to rest and actually appreciate and enjoy the beauty that is around me on a regular basis that sometimes I don't have the chance to really see and let sink in. So single tasking as a way to kind of focus our attention and maybe let go of trying to overdo and that busyness that is so much a part of our current culture and society, and just consider little ways in which perhaps you can start to give it a shot and see whether or not it works for you. Certainly it's not for me to say, but it's just something that I would invite you to consider. Okay, that's it for now. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.